Welcome to Artisan Woodcrafters here in beautiful Malaysia. This project is sponsored by ATKC Hardware out of Banting, Malaysia. They have generously donated this beautiful piece of Cengal for us to work on. They want to see how this slab will transform into a coffee table. They have also generously given us some finishes to select from. We have a tung oil and we have a boiled linseed oil. We'll talk about those a little bit later on. But in the meantime, let's take a look at this beautiful piece of wood and discuss this in a little more detail. Cengal is a tropical hardwood grown here, southern Thailand, peninsular Malaysia, and Singapore. It naturally has a beautiful tan with some reddish tinge to it. And as it ages or is exposed to sunlight, it turns a darker brown. As you can see, this one is fairly dark right now. It has sat in their yard for approximately 5 years air drying. It's been in our shop now for 2 months, going through its final drying phase, and it's ready to be milled and to work. There are a few issues that we will have to deal with, some defects on this piece, and let's take a look at those in closer detail. We can see there's been some damage when the tree was felled. This area here, there's quite a gouge, obviously where it was hit right on the edge. We will try and trim this up as much as we can. I do not want to cut into the surface here if I can help it. I'd like to keep as much of the natural texture as possible. We also have an area here which is very easy to take care of. It's just from cutting it, we'll remove this with the Japanese pull saw before we start milling. But an area of concern is we have a gouge here from the chainsaw. It's approximately 3 inches wide, 3/4 of an inch deep, in imperial metric, 10 centimeters by 2 centimeters deep. This will end up being the bottom side of the coffee table. So we're not going to try and mill this out. There's no point in it. We're just going to surface this side until it's flat. But another area of concern here is we have a big crack that propagates right along the edge, approximately 2 centimeters in, 1 inch in, where it's somewhat detached from the main bulk. You can hear that it's loose compared to here where we're solid. We can take a look at maybe using some mechanical fasteners, maybe some adhesives, or some epoxy. I really want to try and save the outside of this and leave it intact. We have a few smaller areas here that we'll deal with when we do the wire brush or the chin poker. And then we'll move on to the major area of concern here is this damage. As you can see, it's probably maybe 5 inches long, 15 centimeters. It's deep. Unfortunately, this goes all the way through the slab. We're going to mill this down on the bottom here so we can take a better look at it. This is probably 3 millimeters, 1/8 of an inch. We'll mill this flat and then we'll take a look to see whether we can leave it, whether we have to apply some adhesives or anything else that we'll have to do to make sure that this is ready. We have obviously the cracks from drying radiating out of the hardwood and along the edges, which just adds to the natural beauty of this piece of wood. Now the slab is resting, like we said, on its face. And as you can see over here, we've got a small gap. And it's actually, we're lucky that it's only about 3 millimeters, 1/8 of an inch, 3/16 of an inch out of true. We'll take care of that after the milling process on that side. So the first step, obviously, is we're going to set up the router sled, get that running after we trim this piece off, do our first passes to take a look. As far as finishing go, let's take a look at what our options are that were provided by ATKC. So ATKC, again, gave us some tung oil and some boiled linseed oil. I'm not sure which one of these that we're going to end up using. We will obviously try these on a couple of small pieces. This is just some more tropical hardwood from our last project. We'll take a look at how this absorbs in. I love the finishes of oils. I like the natural sheen that it leaves. It's also great that you can just reapply it if the wood starts to dry out and you want to revitalize it. It's highly durable, very easy to maintain. And to me, it's one of the nicer finishes. So we haven't decided yet. I'm leaning towards the tung oil, but we will see how this accepts both finishes. Now, as far as finishing it, there are our next steps. Unfortunately, as we all know, we will set up the rudder table. We've got our milling bits all set up here. We'll start with the milling process on the next episode and carry that through. And then we're on to every woodworker's favorite thing is sanding and sanding and sanding and sanding. So in order to make this flat, unfortunately, there's no shortcuts. We must go through all these steps. So this is a great piece of wood. We're looking forward to this project. We want to thank ATKC. We'll leave the links below. They also have their e-hardware business. You can visit them online. Anything that you require for a home repair or any project such as this, you'll be able to find on their shop. So we thank them once again. We look forward to the next steps. Hope you enjoy the process. We'll see you at milling time.